Hey there, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, Real Success Nation. It's Coach Bill Pipes coming at you as always, alive, excited, and full of energy. Yeah, you know it, James. Oh man, we got such an incredible interview here today. Talk about Roger Bannister. Many of you may know the story of Roger Bannister. Roger Bannister was the man that broke the 4-minute mile. And the guest that we have here today really is a Roger Bannister when it comes to real estate. And what's really interesting is many people don't know is that, human beings have been trying to break that 4-minute mile barrier for as long as history had existed and as long as running had been a competitive sport. And we've been tracking the numbers, right, of how quickly someone could actually run a mile. And the year that Roger Bannister did it, right, it was thought actually like physically impossible. Like doctors had said, the human body cannot run 4-minute mile. It can't break that 4-minute mile barrier. It's physiologically impossible for the body to be able to do that. Well, the interesting thing is the next year after Bannister broke the record and broke that 4-minute barrier, right, then sure enough, I think the number is like 13 people did it the next year. See, guys, what's really interesting about that is the human mind, our limitations exist right here. Okay. And the minute that someone, Bannister in this case, broke that 4-minute mile, then all of a sudden the belief that other individuals, other men and women had in their ability to be able to do that began to kick in. And they went, if this guy can do it, I know I can too. And I know today that this interview is going to be that for many of you, because many of you, when I say set an appointment per day for an entire year, right? One listing appointment per day, one, buyer showing per day, or buyer appointment per day for an entire year. You go, that's impossible. There's no way. People can't do that. Well, I'm here to say, yes, they can. And more importantly, yes, you can. So this conversation I'm going to have today with my good buddy is about him. It's more importantly about you and about the self-limitations that you've set on yourself. And I want today for you to think bigger. I want leaving this interview for you to act bigger, and more importantly, to really cash in on the true God-given talents that you have, right? Because I really do believe that most human beings that are out there grossly underestimate their potential. When they put their mind to something, follow the right strategy, have the right discipline, and most importantly, have the right mindset and the right belief. So guys and gals, without any further ado, let's get rocking and rolling. And I want to introduce to you my good friend, a serious, complete, total rock star, and someone who's an inspiration for me, Mr. James Suarez. Say hello to Real Success Nation, Mr. Suarez.
Hey guys, and Bill, I just want to say thank you very much for having me on. This is a tremendous, tremendous honor. I've watched the success, and just to be a part of this and be a part of the Tom Ferry organization, it is, a complete honor. So thank you, sir, for having me on.
Well, brother, man, the honor is mine, man. I mean, I gotta tell you, you've done something that so few people have ever done in their career, which is set a big, hairy, audacious goal, a BHAG, like our good buddy Darren Hardy calls it, and completed it and actually, crushed it. And so I want them to get a chance to know who you are. And then we're going to hop straight into just this amazing breakthrough that you had and how you did it, both mentally with the strategy and, on the days that you didn't want to do it, how you kept going. So dude, tell them a little bit about yourself. Where do you sell? How long you've been in real estate, and just a little overview in terms of production, if you would.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm out of Los Angeles. We do mainly the west side. They're starting to call the area I work Silicon Beach. Google and Facebook and several other tech companies are moving in here, so it's really exciting. I've been in the business for about 12 years. I was telling you a little earlier, I was actually a busboy over at Islands, which is a chain restaurant out here in Los Angeles, and I used to watch the agents come in nice suits and drive nice cars and had nice wads that they pulled out to pay the bill, and thought, you know what, I wanted that. So got up the courage one day to go over and speak to the manager and said, how can I get into real estate?
So, busboy to real estate agent, and not just any real estate agent. I mean, a real estate agent that last year you guys sold 55, 60 homes. I think it was about $60 million or $60 million worth of volume. This year, crushing that, pacing, what is it, 80 to 90? Is that correct?
Yeah, hopefully we'll do 80 or 90 transactions and get over the 100 million mark.
Yeah, 100 million, the big breakthrough mark, Matt, as we were talking about before the call here. Has it been, I'm just sort of curious in terms of your growth, did you come out of the gates and just skyrocket, or was there a little bit of struggle at the beginning and then, something switch?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of struggle, I think, with any business. My first year in real estate, I had a mentor. We, speaking of the 4-minute mile, we decided to do a triathlon together, which was, an unbelievable feat that we took on. So we were working together and training together. And then the second year in real estate, after we completed the triathlon, I actually had beat him in sales. So we decided to partner, which was great. But we also went through the, 2007, 2008 collapse. So there was a lot of struggle. And we had different coaches. There's a popular coach out here that we were with. We used, Tom's father for a little bit. And actually we were coaching with the Mike Ferry organization and attended a summit because we heard such good things. And even though we were in a contract with them, we decided that this was our calling, this was our path. And so signed up with Tom, and right now, since joining Tom, my business has almost 20x since joining the organization.
20x, man. That's phenomenal, man. That is phenomenal. Great commitment in terms of discipline. And obviously this interview is really about discipline. It's about mindset and discipline. You have done something here, dude, that is absolutely phenomenal. And so last year at Summit, the gauntlet was thrown down. Right? I mean, Tom basically threw the gauntlet down on you. Can you tell us a little bit about what the commitment was and how this whole commitment of an appointment a day for a full year came about?
Yeah, definitely. It was actually 2 years ago at the summit. And in the back of my mind, that was kind of the goal, set an appointment a day. And the summits that I attended prior, it seemed like every year Tom would make a couple bets at the end of summit. And
Right.
So as scared as I was, I knew I wanted to go in there and at the end of the summit make, this bet with Tom to set an appointment per working day. And I mean, I was nervous through the whole entire summit. I had actually flown back early from my honeymoon. I had just gotten married, so I was nice and tan. But the whole time just thinking about, am I going to make this bet? Is he going to take it? What is it going to look like? And then, at the end of summit, I got out there, you got the mic, and, the 200, I set an appointment a day, and he made me calculate what that was. And I was in a scramble. I calculated how many working days. I only really worked about 240 days, yet I set the bet for 270 days. So it was about 1.3 appointments per day. And what most people don't remember about that bet was what happened if I lost. And Tom said that if I lost the bet, that I was out of coaching, completely out of the Tom Ferry organization. And, for having 20x my business, I knew that would be detrimental to my business, my life, my family. So, it went quickly from a BHAG to a commitment. And Tom had talked about really that summit too, and it was just introduced to me what the difference between an interest was and what a commitment was. So,
yeah, first of all, the accountability, you got two types of accountability. You got external accountability, you got internal accountability. And the external accountability is great in the short term, but you have the internal accountability as well too, man. But you have Wayne Dyer, one of my mentors, God bless his soul, passed away this year. He said, no pressure, no diamonds, man. No pressure, no diamonds. So you put yourself in the pressure cooker, right? I mean, immediately. So how did you do
Yeah.
it? So I look at this and I think, okay, there's got to be some components to this. Obviously, you were nervous, you made the commitment. So what allowed you, and did you hit the goal? First of all, probably everyone's listening going, okay, what happened? So did you hit the goal?
Yeah, I hit the goal. I actually exceeded it. I think I came out with 277 appointments in total.
Right on. 277. Beautiful. Like I said, most people underestimate what they can do. You screwed up on the numbers. 240 days, 270 was a commitment, and you crushed it at 277. So take us through how to do that, because what I want to have happen here, James, and for everyone who's listening, I want you to be able to take this model. We talked about this at Summit. You need to find people that have produced results that you want to produce and simply model them. And all that modeling is duplicating their results by duplicating their activities. That's the simple definition. And I want you to be able to model James and the process and the strategy and the mindset that he had. So take us through what you did that allowed this to turn it from a BHAG to a commitment, from a commitment to the results.
Yeah, well, I pulled a lot from life experiences of where I had set commitments for myself and knew that I had to dig from those, and knew that once I set something, a goal for myself, a commitment for myself, knowing that I can accomplish it. One actually being the triathlon, and the other one being, running a marathon. And although I was an athlete, I was never, a runner, a swimmer, or a biker, but knew that if I did, the day-to-day actions and followed my coaches, that, I can accomplish it. And like you said, it's, like a marathon, it's 20% physical and 80% mental. And I just knew I really need to up my mental game. And the first thing I did was really looked at, my big why and why I was doing this, because I knew that I was going to need to draw from that. And I also had looked at, my life. I had just gotten married, and things had kind of gotten business-wise a little stagnant. And Bill, we had talked about, I've been sober for 13 years, and we have a saying in AA that, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I knew I just needed, I needed a change in my life. It took everything I had to set those 270 appointments, but it really came to, drawing a line in the sand and saying, that's it. It's time to really commit to this and doing whatever it took to set those appointments.
So you said success is 20% what you do, 80% what you think, right? And so what was your mental preparation? I would imagine that there had to be some type of mental preparation that you're doing every single day to be able to make this happen, because there's no way that every day you woke up and went, woo, I can't wait. Yes. Okay. I'm going to prospect and lead generate until I get an appointment. I mean, there must have been some days that were just like a grind. So what was your mental preparation for you to be able to be at that level 10 every single day to hit this?
Yeah, and to be perfectly honest with you, I don't remember a day where I actually woke up saying, "Ooh, let's go door knocking. Can't wait to get out there and knock on some doors." No, most days I woke up, with the drunk monkey, yelling in my ear. But I actually, I had a rigorous. I actually had 2 morning routines. The first thing when I woke up, when the alarm went off, lay in bed and say affirmations back and forth to each other, like, I'm alive, excited, and full of energy. I'm the captain of my fate and the master of my soul. I'm going to GSD it, and I'm going to make today an awesome day. I'm going to set those appointments, and I'm going to rule the real estate. I mean, when we woke up, the affirmations, started to really combat, those negative thoughts that go on.
Beautiful.
And then also,
that is amazing.
Yeah. My wife, behind every great man is, an even better woman. And my wife, she signed on for this. At the end of the affirmations, it would end with, I love my beautiful wife, and I'm so lucky to have her in my life. And she would say something, inspiring back to me as her husband. So that's before my feet even hit the ground. Yeah. And then I would get up and be of service and make her coffee and breakfast. And then we would go over to our table, and we'd do prayer. We would do meditation. Now, I'm not a religious man whatsoever, but I'm very spiritual, and I understand, the importance of a connection of a higher power, and also the importance of affirmations and coming from a place of service and gratitude, because if it was all about the appointments and not so much my clients and being of service, would have happened. So we would do our prayer and meditation, and then we had our dream board out on our coffee table. and we would review that, which is big part of, us, our big why of, why we're doing this and why we're up at, 5 a.m. And then we would go and work out. That, to me,
so you're up,
working out, I call it.
Really quick. So you were up at 5 a.m. Like, so your day started 5 a.m., man. I think, hey, by the way, listeners, there is a 5 a.m. as well as a 5 p.m. in case some of you were wondering. So 5 a.m., brother. I'm sorry for interrupting. Continue.
Oh yeah, no problem. And sometimes, the snooze button did get hit every once in a while. So sometimes it was 5:08. But yeah, we were up early to take on the day. For those who are looking for extra time in the day, the way to find it is definitely in the morning. So after the morning routine, we would go and work out. Just after I worked out, I felt fired up. The endorphins were going. Then I would come into my office, and the morning routine would start all over again. In fact, I'm still doing it. With the list of gratitudes, my affirmations, appointments.
Beautiful, man.
And the rah.
Hey, hold on, you just froze up on me right there. So
okay.
Start back again with the holding the sheet up, because you froze up for like 1 second. Okay, so
okay, no problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, after the gym, we'd come in, and I would do my morning journal with the 10 things I'm grateful for. My morning affirmation, the more affirmations of setting the appointments. Yeah, what my goals were for the day, what my intentions were. And then also 3 things that, made me happy, to make sure that I'm also in, a good, healthy mindset.
Dude, you know what I love? I love, what I love about this is, I'm not sure if you ever have been to one of the Elevate events that we did, the half-day events, but this is like straight out textbook, do your 5 to 10 things you're grateful for to actually release dopamine and serotonin. Look at the 3 things that you've successes and wins. I mean, you're doing it, man. You're like just following the friggin' system. Dude, thank you. Oh,
yeah, and none of this is anything that I created. I mean, we just modeled. I heard what I heard what Tom said. I heard what other people in the organization said. I read the way that the most successful people start their morning, and just I modeled it. I are indeed, and then added a little spin to our own. Like the team would come in, and we would do affirmations together as a team. Then we would review our vision statement. We would review what we wanted to attract for the day, and just really got our mindset right, because I knew that was going to be most important. In fact, with this summit, I went in thinking, okay, I'm going to get one new lead generation idea, but really what I walked away with was how important mindset is, and needed to really go back to the basics and focus on that. So I mean, again, 80% of my success with setting those appointments was that mindset, because life happens. During the time of setting those appointments, I had just gotten married, but my business partner and I decided to go different ways. So there was a buyout. There was an injury that I endured, and door knocking was my thing, and I couldn't door knock, so I had to make adjustments. My wife got pregnant, which was awesome, but then I had to go through what I think every father may experience about, like, am I going to be a good dad? How am I going to support this family? So I had to struggle with that as well. But that routine, that morning routine of how to wake up alive, excited, and full of energy, it became a habit. Yeah. So that when those negative thoughts came into my mind, I was prepared on how to handle them. And in AA we say a lot, we're not responsible for the first thought that enters our mind, but we're responsible for those thereafter. And what I've learned through different books like Think and Grow Rich and Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude and other mindset oriented books is that the only thing that I have absolute control over are my thoughts and actions. So I knew that I needed to practice taking control of those.
Beautiful, man. So 2 different morning routines, one that you did with your wife, another one that you did when you came into the office. So now you're primed, you've primed the pump. Yeah. And then you did a third one that you did with your team. So now you've primed the pump. The mindset is in the right place. I know plenty of people that have a great mindset, but still don't produce these types of results, right? So what was the strategy, man? How did you translate this great mindset over into the 270 appointments now?
Well, then, I mean, the next step was also, is practice, doing the scripts and dialogues, and then getting my mind right of, what I was going to say and what I was going to articulate. So, I just coming off with, the Olympics, those athletes, 6 days a week practice 6 hours. I mean, that's just, unbelievable, but that's why they're the best of the best. And I knew that if I wanted to accomplish this goal, that I needed to up my game with scripts and dialogues. I mean, and attending Sales Edge. I mean, whatever I could do to up my game so that when I was out on the field, when it was game time, that I was able to close. And I shot a lot of videos, well, not a lot, but I shot a few videos about, door knocking, and I wore the pink shirt for those of you who watch those videos. My strategy is, the pink shirt closes deals. Pastel colors you get a lot more smiles.
Nice.
But every time I opened that door to go out door knocking, I mean, there was a struggle. I did not want to. I was scared of the doors, getting the door slammed in my face. But, going back to what I said before, I used my vision board, the big why, which inspired me to, get out of the door and go knock on that first door. And then I also had the confidence because of my scripts and dialogue. I knew what I was saying. I was prepared. I had something of value to give out, and I knew what to say. I knew that when they opened the door that I was going to take a little bit of a step back, that I was going to smile to try to get them to smile. Like, I had a whole approach. I had a whole strategy, and I knew if I implemented it, we would succeed.
Awesome. So were a majority of the appointments set from door knocking? Was it from your, what was your day of prospecting, your day of lead generation? What did that look like on average?
Yeah, so the first question, were a majority of my appointments door knocking? And the answer, truthfully, is absolutely not. In fact, I did not get a lot of appointments door knocking, but I'm a big believer in energy in the universe and input output. And I knew that if I did the next right indicated actions and stayed out of the results, that I would be taken care of. So, just putting that energy out in the universe and doing what I was supposed to do and doing, the basics of door knocking. And then if I got hurt, cold calling. So that's how I started my day. And, I get questions a lot of, what's the best time to door knock? And the answer is always, because if I push it back to the afternoon, it doesn't happen. By that time, the drunk monkey has lifted a couple of weights and has had its, a couple cups of coffee, and I just don't want to, it gets pushed off, as I'm sure we've all have experienced. Totally. So I would go out first thing in the morning and just, get that part over with, which would, again, it's like walking out of the gym. As soon as I did my 2.5 hours of door knocking and got back in the car, there was such a good, huge feeling of accomplishment. Like I'm taking action on my life. I'm taking action to accomplish, my goals. But then there was other, like I used to play football. We used to have 2-a-days. So that was part of my schedule. Like I would have prospecting in the morning, and then I also would have prospecting in the afternoon. But the mindset that I had to have was, I'm not going home until there's an appointment set. And that's just, it was a non-negotiable. That's just what had to happen. And truth again be told, there were times where it was, 7 or 8 o'clock, and those, and that appointment had not been set. And I have a new wife at home that I knew I needed to get to. And then a new, wife that's also pregnant that, probably needed her, feet massage. So I knew I needed to get home. And like I remember, I mean, even the best athletes go into slumps. That there were times when I would not set an appointment for a couple of days, and it was very scary. But again, because I had the habit and the mindset to be able to push those negative thoughts away and suit up and show up, the appointments, again, because I was doing the right next indicated actions, the appointments would come, whether it be just a random phone call or a come list me or come represent me call. They would come, and I just believe that it would happen. And I see all these Muhammad Ali pictures you have, behind totally. My screensaver's one of them, and it's I had to suffer now. I had to train so I could live the rest of my life a champion. And I look at that quote every single day, because a lot of it is the mundane of coming in, doing the scripts and dialogues, which is not fun, going door to door, which is not fun. But I just had, I had to flip the talisman of being positive. And there are some doors that I knocked and I just wanted to leave the flyer. But as Tom said at Summit, am I $1,000 an hour producer, or am I $100 or $10 an hour employee? And if I just left a flyer at someone's door, I pay a company to do that, and it's 72 cents per flyer. And is that my worth? And the answer is no. And again, digging deep to make sure that I knock on the door, stay for them to open, and then run through the entire script, with a smile on my face.
Nice, and nodding your head, stepping back, and
yeah.
So, first of all, a couple of key things that I really want to make sure stand out here, because there's so much great content. You've said 3 times in this interview, in this conversation, I focused on the actions and the behaviors, not so much on the results, right? I knew that if I actually put the time and the energy in on the front end of the behaviors and the habits and the disciplines, the results would show up. Right. And I think it's counterintuitive for a lot of people, because they're so focused on the result, on the money, on the appointment, on the I need to get the next deal. So huge aha right there for hopefully everyone who's listening. Did you get most of the appointments on the initial contact, or was it follow up? Where did you see that most of these actually came from?
Yeah, and that's a real good point. So most of the appointments came on my initial follow-up. I will say that one of the problems I ran into with concentrating on setting appointments every day is that I probably didn't have the follow-up after I had set the appointment. So where the strategy has definitely now changed is after setting those appointments, making sure that there's systems and action plans in place, so that you set the appointment, but then there's also a plan to convert that appointment into a transaction. So that's one area where I saw there was there was definitely room for improvement. So now we use a system like Boomtown, where there's an action plan set up there so that nothing does fall through the cracks. And again, going back to what we were saying before, the results. Again, the only thing that I can control is my actions. I cannot control the person that answers the door. And oftentimes, from time to time, it doesn't happen as much as people think. Someone would slam the door in my face, and I had to be able to not take it personally. And if someone slams the door in my face and says something rude to me, it's not because I knocked on the door. It's something that's going on in their life, and I have to be understanding of that. Maybe they're going through a hard time, maybe they're dealing with an illness, and I just caught them at a bad time. And Yale did a study, with professional athletes, professional baseball players, and the difference between those that are in the minors and those that are in the majors. And the really only slight difference is, their ability to disregard the error they just made, or what just happened. And a lot of times at the door or on the phones talking to my friends or family asking for business, like I would stumble. Like I'm definitely not perfect, but I had to be able to move on and just go to the next call and see what I did wrong and make that improvement, so that I didn't lose the next appointment. Oftentimes and deals would fall apart, and I just had to make sure that losing that one deal didn't allow me to lose the next 3 or 4, because my mindset was off, because I was such in a negative place, because the deal I've been working on for the last 3 or 4 months just fell apart on me. I had to be able just to, accept it for what it is, feel sorry for myself for a little bit, and then be okay, that one wasn't supposed to happen. Let's move on to the next one, because there's a lot more customers out there that need my service.
Brilliant, man. Yeah, I have never heard of that Yale study. That's fantastic. That the difference between a major league player and a minor league player, one of the primary differences was their ability to disregard the error, the ability to make a mistake, learn from it, move forward, and then just put it in the past. Oh, that's huge, man. That right there, I could just end the interview and say to everyone, go to work. But so, however, I've got pages and pages right now. Let me hop into something. Deal falls apart. 2 deals fall apart. You get your door slammed in your face. Did you have any type of strategy to be able to go, okay, brush it off, let's go, back on target?
Yeah, I mean that's which happens all the time. It happened yesterday. I had 2 listings that I thought I was going to get, not come my way. And again, it's, I would allow myself, to feel sorry for myself for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then realize again, I don't have that. I don't have control over that. So there's no, feeling sorry for myself is not going to help me accomplish my goals. It's not going to help me accomplish my big why. So, and then I would have to dig deep, and I have a picture of my wife and my son on my desk, which is part of my big why. I want to live a big life. I want my son to live a big life. I want to be there. My father, wasn't there for me. I want to be there for my son, and I know in order to do that, I need to be the man that I wish my father was. So it's not, the dollar amount that I bring in, but being able to set up my life so that I can leave and be part of his life and coach his team. But I know in order to do, I knew at that time, before he was born, that there was going to be some sacrifice that needed to be made. So again, I would say for everybody out there, you're gonna have to dig deep almost every day. It's just part of the trade. But if your why is big enough, then it's it's easy to bounce back off, like you said, brush your shoulders off and get right back out there.
Brilliant, man. I love it. So was that you've talked about your big why now 3, 4, 5 times. Obviously, your son, your wife, you said was a primary fundamental component. Was there any other component of your why that was driving you, or were those the 2 or 3 main things?
Yeah, I mean, and again, sharing this with you and everybody else, I don't want to live an average life. I want to do something extraordinary. I want to have a legacy. I want to make a difference in this world when it's my time to go. I don't want to lie on my deathbed and have regrets. I want to make this world, I want to make this industry, a better place. I have, and Tom knows, I have a big goal to accomplish. And so, feeling sorry for myself over one deal is not going to do anybody good, especially, myself. So yeah, and sometimes I used my son, and sometimes I used my wife, and sometimes I used, my business card. So whatever it took to get, past that is what I used at that time.
Do you believe?
And sometimes it was just pure will.
Yeah. Do you believe that everyone listening right now could set 1 appointment per day?
Oh, definitely. Most definitely. I mean, it's like the question, can anybody, run a marathon? And the question is yes, as long as you have a plan, as long as you have a right coach in place, and as long as you have the right mindset, and then the willingness to take the action, you can run a marathon. Like I saw little old ladies, who I would never have thought in a million years be able to run a marathon pass me when I was doing it. But I knew, they trained, they had the right mindset, and they believed they could, and that's why they were passing me. So yes, most definitely. Again, it's one of those things where, it can't be an interest, a commitment. And I'm not suggesting that someone make, the type of, bet that I made with Tom about pretty much being out of coaching, which was, would have been life changing for me. But that's the type of burning desire. It became an obsession for me. But that's what they're going to have in order to accomplish that. It's not an easy feat, but it's what separates the boys from the men. Drawing that line and saying, okay, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's time to make a change in my life. And what people also understand too, there's going to be sacrifice. Like, I love that people are doing the 100 appointments between now and the end of the year. Truth be told, that is not my goal right now, because my primary focus right now is my life and my 1-year-old son, and being there, being home for him. Because I know that for me, setting those appointments, it was 6 days a week, pretty much, 12-hour days. And I was also building a team as well. I told you my team imploded on me at the beginning because I was building it for numbers and not culture, which was a great learning experience, and another discussion for another time. But I knew that the time commitment for that. But what I would suggest for everybody is have your priorities in place, and your life priorities, and then build it around. But most definitely, if you want to set 100 appointments, it is definitely attainable. To do a deal a day can be done. And I'm sure you will be if you have the right reasoning for it, the right mindset for it, and see working with your coach to attain it.
Brilliant, man. I love it. So, dude, we have hit. Hey, by the way, listeners, did you hear that? Hey, game on. game on between now and the end of the year. Here's the thought. Why not you? I mean, James did it, you know, like, and he hadn't done it before. I mean, what was the most you had done before, man? Like, what was the most appointments you had set in 30 days leading up to the bet?
Yeah, I would say maybe 15, but probably 10. I was probably setting an appointment like every 3 days.
Okay. So 2 per week, 2 or 3 per week, right? And then all of a sudden now doubling, even tripling that at that point, which is phenomenal. So it doesn't matter where you are. It's your commitment, strategy, mindset, and where you want to go, and that line in the sand. Dude, anything else you want to share with them?
Yeah, I mean, and real quick, and I got this from one of my favorite books, which is The Slight Edge. And it's nothing that I did that was some type of quantum leap for me to be able to accomplish that goal. It was the small decisions that I made every day. It was easy for me to wake up and do my prayer and meditation, but at the same time, it could have been easy for me not to pray for 3 minutes. It's easy for me to do scripts and dialogue for 20 minutes. It was easy for me not to, and what I've learned, what separates the successful from the unsuccessful, those slight little small decisions that we make every single day. And it's just whether I'm making those right decisions to help me compound my success, or if I'm making the other decisions to take me away from my goals.
Brilliant, man. I love it. So it wasn't any type of major change. It was small changes over time that added up to huge results. And I think that's, James, thank you for saying that, because a lot of people may look at this and go, oh my gosh, I have to change everything. But that's not it. It's small changes over time, putting yourself in pressure, and then all of a sudden breakthrough naturally occurs. Anything else? Go ahead.
Yeah, and just playing out of our comfort zone. I think it was Tom or maybe even you who said, success starts when we start to feel the pain. In the gym, those first 12 reps. Once you get to that kind of breaking point, those last 3 reps that you do that are the hardest. Like that's where the growth lies. When you start to feel that uncomfortability, when you start to feel the pain. So just I told my team yesterday, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's where success lies. If making my stepfather says if making money was easy, more people would be doing it. But the great thing is we have the coaching, we have the tools, now we have the mindset to accomplish this or anything that someone wants to go after.
Brilliant, man. 5 years from now, tell me where James Suarez is.
On top of the world, baby. I will have already taken over the Los Angeles and California real estate market and going after the rest.
I love it, man. And And you're going to be contributing like a mofo, man, because if I know you, your life is you're service based. I mean, even as we're prepping for this, you're just like, all I want to do is be of service to every single person that's out there that's listening, to be able to have them recognize that there's more inside them than they're actually letting out. So, brother, anything else you want to leave them with?
No, I appreciate the time. I appreciate the honor. And again, just going back to that mindset and believing in yourself, and just know there's going to be days when you're going to wake up and, not think you can do it. But those are the days you have to dig deep. I always say that a good day is when I wake up and I'm ready to set appointments and I do it. But a great day is when I wake up and I'm not ready to set the appointments yet. I still take the action. So it can be done.
I love it. I love it. If they want to get a hold of you, send you referrals, like how do they do it? Where do they email you, or what's the best way for them to communicate and send that great business over to West Los Angeles?
Yeah, I would truly appreciate it. You can just email me at james@FINEMAN Suarez.com, SUAREZ. And no, I don't think I'm a fine man. That was my old business partner's last name. So
I was wondering about that, man, when I was sending it over to you. I'm like, that's pretty cool. All right, that's interesting. Hey, so James, this is what I'm going to tell them. I'm going to leave them with this. It's 4 and 1. The 4-minute mile was broken, and then 13 people did it the next year. James Suarez was able to do 1 appointment plus per day, 1.3 appointments plus per day. The question that really comes from this is, if Bannister was able to get 13 people, how many hundreds and thousands of you, or hundreds of and not hundreds, thousands, but hundreds or thousands of you listening are going to set an appointment a day between now and the end of the year. Guys, I want to know on this interview, post it at the bottom, say, hey Pipes, hey Ferry, hey Suarez, we're all in. And I just want you to think what your life will be like in January, not just from a business perspective and an income perspective that you're gaining because of the commitment and the behavior, but more importantly, the type of man or woman you're going to become and how you're going to feel starting the new year in terms of having done that, having set the line in the sand, crossed it, and crushed it. James, brother, I love you to death. You are an inspiration, and I'm truly, truly grateful to have you on this interview. And I know every single Real Success Nation listener is as well, too. So, guys, big round of applause, Mr. Suarez. Thank you so much for being on this. And I look forward to you and I doing this again. Maybe we can have a future follow-up on culture and implosion and how you bounce back. Would that be good, man?
Yeah, we'd love to do that.
All right, brother. Thanks again. Hey, guys, if we can support you, like James had said, with any type of coaching, any type of seminars, you know, we're here for you. Please visit us at tomferry.com and find out exactly what we have to offer and how we can support you in terms of your growth and that one appointment per day. Game on, guys and gals. Look forward to speaking to you. Look forward to seeing you soon. Have an absolutely fantastic 30 days. Crush the rest of the year. One appointment per day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.